If you want to overcome the fear of being seen, your identity is the portal. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. This is Jane, and we're going to break it down on the whiteboard. So for Jane, I used like the average human experience. So she's carrying fear, shame, guilt, anger, grief. She has trauma that she's experienced. She feels unworthy, and she is living in a lot of scarcity programming. One is to anchor into the desire to change and get clear on where you want to go, because it can be very hard to let things go or create real change if you're not moving towards something. When I work with a client, I can see in the quantum field all of their timelines and the highest possibilities and how to get them there. The next thing we do is we clear the resistance to that change, because you can do all of the healing, you can do all of the deep inner work, but if you are resistant to change and that resistance lives in the mind or the body or the energy field, it's going to be hard to actually make the moves that you need to create the change. Number 3, we move into the emotional healing process. This is where I go in and help clients address the unconscious wounds that are driving them, because the unconscious is a layer deeper than the subconscious. So you might be aware that you carry fear, shame, guilt, and unworthiness. You might know that you're operating in scarcity, but not really have an idea of the exact wounding and the unconscious parts of this that are taking place. Next, we move into the energetic clearing, because there is a spiritual and metaphysical aspect to this. So for Jane, we clear spiritual warfare. We're going to clear the ancestral programs that have been silencing her lineage for years. We're going to clear the past lives where she was persecuted for being seen, for sharing her gifts. We're going to go in and cut cords with all of the people who may be holding her power. We go through and we find out what is in her energy field, what is accessing her and keeping her from being able to break free from this system. We're going to look at reprogramming the subconscious. So we're going to look at Jane's beliefs, thoughts, and patterns that are operating in her system and are still tied to the old matrix identity, the survival self. And we're going to start to rewrite these to empower her to become her true self and to feel safe being seen and stepping into her purpose. Not only do we do the actual reprogramming, but this is where we create a strategy to implement this change. Because when Jane starts actually making this change in her life and not just thinking the thoughts, but behaving differently, this is where she collects new experiences that not only anchor in the new identity, but show her she is actually safe to be who she is, to be seen, and live in her purpose. Next, we do identity exploration. And this is where we look at how this all shaped who you became today, what parts of yourself you had to leave behind, and what we can reclaim. So this is where we look at things like, have you always been the quote unquote good girl? Have you been the codependent one, the one who took on everyone else's needs? Like, who have you been operating as up until this point? How has it shaped who you have become? And then we start to reclaim who you truly are when we drop those programs. The next thing we're going to look at is your environment and the matrix programs. This is where we look at what is installed in your field. So this is things like the health system, the food system, the corporate system, all of the things that are holding you back. As we do all of this, we are reconnecting you to your true soul identity, which is your divinity. And this is where you stop being the manifester and you start being the creator of your own life.